Alright, I think that Sam Wilson is by far the best utility champion in the 7-star Legend Selector, and though he lacks damage, his utility more than makes up for it in my opinion. So why is he so good utility-wise? Well, for me, the biggest selling point is that there is no picking or choosing with Sam Wilson. He can have all of his utility up at once, and that is just really impressive. Take Emma Frost for example. She has the Diamond form and the Telepath form, and you can't have both up at once. You have to pick your utility there. But with Sam Wilson, you can have your Bulwark, your Armor Up, your Lock On, your Power Drain, you name it, he can have it all up at once, and that is just so impressive, man. And I love champs that don't have to pick or choose anything, and Sam Wilson is one of those champions. And his damage source is the SP2, which doesn't really consume any form of utility. It does consume armor ups, but you get that back in about 3 seconds, so there is pretty much no loss there either. So what does Sam Wilson do? So at base, he doesn't crit, which is pretty good. It is good for countering Havoc, Mr. Sinister, any champion that punishes crits, which is always great to have. And he also counters Ebony Maw when locked on because he has a straight up miss counter there. And that is great for a ton of champions and a ton of nodes, but with Ebony Maw being a 7-star now, keep that in mind because Sam Wilson is a great Maw counter. And here is further proof. While he has Armor Up active, he also blocks unblockable mutant specials and parries non-contact hits. So Ebony Maw's first medium attack he can parry the likes of Shuri, he can just parry any non-contact hit, which is amazing. So that is also very valuable for Ebony Maw. And here's my favorite part. While his Bulwark is active, he reduces offensive ability accuracy by 100% while blocking. This is amazing for so many things. For kinetic transference, for stunning reflection, for hard knock life, which is, a current Battlegrounds node in the victory track. He counters those things so well, and it's not just those things. Anything that triggers on your block, he counters 100%. Just will guaranteed counter that. That is so valuable to have, and it just makes Sam Wilson one of the best utility champions out there because this ability is so rare. Only one other character has it as far as I'm aware, and that's Proxima Midnight. So this is just a strong ability. It is by far his best thing. So yeah, just really good stuff there. He also has some very solid power control with his sapped charges, and these just let him bypass the SP3. Like, you can just hit the opponent all you want and they will never get to the SP3. It is a very fun time. And on his own SP3, he has a special lock, and this special lock is fantastic because when you pair it with the sap charges, they are just shut down completely. So this is just a fantastic way of controlling the opponent. And I know what you're thinking, don't you have to sacrifice some damage output for this SP3? Well, not really, because with this SP3, you gain a ton of crit rating, like over 8,000. It is a very strong damage output increase, and it honestly offsets the SP2. So there is pretty much little sacrifice to his damage output for his utility, which is always a great thing to have. I love characters like that. So last but not least, he has a great safety net with his auto block mechanic. He can just auto block pretty much any special attack, and it is a perfect way of just not getting one shot by one, right? So overall, Sam Wilson just has a ton of utility. He is a very safe champion to play and just has so much going on for him, man. It is just such a great kit. I think it's a great kit overall. Of course, the damage output is a bit lacking, but what he lacks in damage output, he more than makes up for with his arsenal of utility. So now let's see Sam Wilson in action. We have this kinetic transference lane first, and he counters this with pretty much absolute ease. We go for the parry, and there he gains power. Then we go for the intercept for the Bulwark buff. We parry again, and he gains 0 power there. And just like that, the fight is under control. And to maintain the Bulwark buff, just drop a heavy attack to refresh it or just gain a new one. And that's pretty much it. He is that simple. That's why I like him so much, because of the simplicity and ease of use for his utility. You have to do a heavy attack or an intercept. Like, both of those things aren't too bad. And then once you get one up, you can just keep on refreshing it, and it is there for the entire fight. And now this fight is pretty much over after this last SP2. This was the Battle of Captain Americas, and Sam Wilson reigns supreme, so that's pretty nice. So we dropped the SP2 and the fight is now over. And not too bad of a fight time either, though we do have the Recall Masters active, so that is a bit of like an inflated damage output. And now the Maul countering. So this Maul has Faltering Mind, which means whenever we are faltered, he reduces our defensive ability accuracy by 100%, so he just cancels out our parry. But when we don't have that active, check that out. We just parried his second medium with no repercussion. We just got the stun, simple as that. And yeah, he just counters that super well. And now the falter is gonna, stack up pretty soon. So we just need to prepare for that by locking on. And then it is now up. We fail the miss, which is perfect. We dropped the SP2 for some pretty nice damage output. And yeah, that is Maul just countered completely. Simple as that. It's pretty awesome, man. He's a very, very good Maul counter. There really isn't too much to it. He just counters him super well. And yeah, this fight is pretty much wrapped up after this SP1, which I think finishes him off. Oh no, it doesn't, but this blocked hit does. And yeah, not too bad. Pretty good Maul counter. Just counters pretty much everything about Maul besides the SP1 Fury, which is fine. Now we have the second Maul here, just for some bonus like Maul action. But yeah, not much to this, just get an armor up, which means you can parry him whenever you want, and then once you're about to hit 20 charges, enter lock on to bypass the miss, and you are chilling. That is how you fight Maul with Sam Wilson. Not too much there, just a very, very strong counter to him. Probably one of the strongest ones in the tech class besides Omega Sentinel. And here we dropped the SP2, and this does some pretty nice damage output, or it should have, but it got capped because of Rage, which is a bit annoying. And here he drops the SP2 himself, and we get the full deck somehow. I don't know how I did that, to be honest. I usually always miss the decks, but hey, I'll take it. That's pretty nice. And this fight is going to be over pretty soon. Keep in mind, though, you do want lock on to bypass the miss, so if he has the falter up and you don't have your lock on ready, just play it safe, just dash back and you'll be fine. And yeah, that is Maul just completely shut down by Sam Wilson. And now we have this quick little matchup here. Kitty Pryde, she gains prowess on crit, but Sam Wilson doesn't crit, so there is no prowess to be gained, and she just becomes insanely easy with Sam Wilson. Additionally, while Kitty Pryde is suffering from a cowardice, she does not gain any prowess whatsoever, so Sam Wilson just shuts her down again, which is just pretty awesome. And yeah, Kitty Pryde just made a joke by Sam Wilson, and also like Havoc, Mr. Sinister, you name it, he just shuts them down. And yeah, that fight just made very simple with Sam Wilson. And now we have this Bishop here just for a quick example of the blocking unblockable special attacks. So Bishop, whenever he has that red icon active, he can just throw an unblockable special attack, which is not fun whatsoever. But Sam Wilson doesn't really care because he can just block it. Check this out. He throws it, unblockable, I just block it there, no big issue, and yeah, the fight is now wrapped up. And Sam Wilson is just a phenomenal champion. His damage output might be a bit lacking, but whatever he lacks in damage, he has in utility, and he has so much utility. The bulwark, the non-crit, the power drain, the access to the unblockable counter and the miss counter. He just has so much going on, right? The cowardice as well, the rupture, he just has a massive kit, and it just makes for a very solid tech character. So I think Sam Wilson is a great pick, to be honest, because he also has some dual threat value with his very annoying auto block and his very menacing SP2. So if you like Sam Wilson, he's a great 7-star pick. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Sam Wilson, and that's about it for me.